The function and organization of the cardiovascular system are the topics of this screencast. Information on the cardiovascular system may be found in Chapter 11 of your textbook. This screencast was designed to help you achieve the following objectives. Describe the function of the cardiovascular system. Define arteries, veins, and capillaries. Describe the flow of blood through the pulmonary and systemic circulations. So in Chapter 10, we looked at the physical characteristics of blood. We also looked at the components of blood and their functions, as well as the overall function of blood. Now we examined the cardiovascular system, the heart and blood vessels, and how they use blood to transport substances throughout the body. Most cells of the human body are not able to move. They're stationary. That means that they can only interact directly with the interstitial fluid that surrounds them. They can't move away from waste products that they create. They can't move toward nutrients or oxygen that they need to maintain normal metabolism. Therefore, it is the responsibility of the cardiovascular system to continually refresh the interstitial fluid that surrounds all the cells of the body, removing waste products that can build up to toxic levels that can interfere with normal metabolism of the cell or actually kill the cell, to bring in nutrients and oxygen that the cell needs to maintain normal metabolism, and to also bring hormones to the cell to properly regulate the metabolism of the cell. So that is the function of the cardiovascular system. So transportation is the function of the cardiovascular system. Nutrients absorbed from the small intestine are transported to cells all over the body by the cardiovascular system. Nitrogen-containing wastes formed by cells are transported to the kidneys for excretion in the urine. Oxygen is transported from the lungs to the cells of the body, and carbon dioxide produced by the cells of the body are transported by the cardiovascular system to the lungs. And lastly, hormones released by glands in one part of the body are transported to cells in other parts of the body by the cardiovascular system. So the cardiovascular system includes the heart and all of the blood vessels of the body. Cardio means heart, and vas means vessels, thus cardiovascular system. The heart creates the pressure gradient that enables blood to move, and the blood vessels provide the pathway through which blood carries substances throughout the body. Blood itself is the vehicle in which substances are transported. Now, you may have heard the term circulatory system. The circulatory system and the cardiovascular system are almost the same. Technically, the cardiovascular system only includes heart and blood vessels, and the circulatory system includes heart, blood vessels, and blood. So that's the technical difference between the two. For the purposes of this class, you can use the two terms interchangeably. Blood vessels allow the movement of blood between the heart and other tissues of the body. There are three types. Arteries carry blood from the heart. Veins deliver blood back to the heart. And capillaries allow substances to be exchanged between the blood and the interstitial fluid of tissues throughout the body. The heart transports blood to two general locations. Oxygen poor or deoxygenated blood is transported from the right side of the heart through pulmonary arteries. The pulmonary arteries transport the blood to pulmonary capillaries located in the lungs. There, oxygen is loaded onto the blood and carbon dioxide is unloaded from the blood, forming oxygen-rich or oxygenated blood. This oxygenated blood is then transported back to the heart through pulmonary veins. The pulmonary arteries, pulmonary capillaries, and pulmonary veins constitute the pulmonary circulation. Oxygenated blood is transported from the left side of the heart through systemic arteries. The systemic arteries transport the oxygenated blood to capillaries in all tissues of the body. These are referred to as systemic capillaries. There, oxygen is unloaded and made available to the tissues, and carbon dioxide produced by the tissues is loaded onto the blood. The deoxygenated blood is then transported back to the heart through systemic veins. The systemic arteries, systemic capillaries, and systemic veins constitute the systemic circulation. Now, let's review the objectives of this screencast. Describe the function of the cardiovascular system. Define arteries, veins, and capillaries. Describe the flow of blood through the pulmonary and systemic circulations. The topic of the next screencast will be the structure and function of the heart.